Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sorry to keep you waiting. I was lost in the world. I had to get my mind right and ready for the limelight, homie.
What's up, everybody? You're now tuned into another episode of The Elite. I'm back again with my brother from another mother, Ty Moore. What's up, man?
I'm back. What's up with you, man?
Good. Chad's still out for the moment, but you know, it's all good. We got more analysts. All right, Ty. So we just gonna jump right into it, bro.
Let's get it.
This past week, a lot of upsets going around in the NFL. The trade deadline just ended. So you being a Steelers fan, I'm gonna just ask you: you think your team is gonna go 16-0 this year?
Man,
I need to know.
I'm just gonna be blunt with you. No, I don't think it, and I hope we lose a couple of games at least, because I do not want to be going in the playoffs 16-0. You know, thinking you're invincible. You know, and then you lose in like the divisional round or whatever. So we got a couple of trap games. Them Cincinnati games, I think, are trap games because Joe Burrow is playing good.
Oh yeah, don't sleep on Joe Burrow. So
those two are trap games, and then we have the Ravens again, which will be a tough game, and then we have the Bills, which they're pretty good. They're atop the AFC East. So yeah, we're definitely not out of the darkness yet. We still got to win a few games. I don't think we'll go 16-0 though, and I hope we don't. So yeah, put that on the record, please.
It is now on the record. I say y'all ain't going 16-0. I think the best possible record y'all can have, looking at what schedule y'all have now, y'all probably gonna finish 14-2 because Dallas in this upcoming week, easy dub.
Yeah, that's an easy dub.
That's an easy dub. Cincinnati could be a trap game, but I gave y'all both wins over Cincinnati both times. Jacksonville after that, Baltimore again, then it's pretty much a cakewalk outside of Indianapolis and Buffalo.
Exactly. Yeah. 14-2. That's a good prediction. I wouldn't mind that because at least you have two losses. You know what it feels like to lose. So, but I wouldn't like 16-0 because that reminds me too much of that 2007 Patriots team. You know what they did.
It's setting up to look that way for y'all.
Exactly.
With this schedule, because it's a cakewalk.
Those my 2 cents on that.
Man. Well, with me being a Baltimore fan, we gonna start with that game. We took that L to y'all. And what's crazy is that it started off very badly, that pick six.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar threw. It started off very badly. I was highly upset. But he calmed down, got the offense under control. We ran the ball very effectively against y'all. But at the same time, we couldn't really do much through the air, which has been a constant problem for Lamar. Like, my biggest takeaway from that game is, like, he needs some help on the outside. Like, I know we got Hollywood Brown. Not saying he's a scrub or anything like that, but we need a big physical receiver on the outside, not a speedster. Like, if we can't get that, Lamar's not going to have a chance to get the ball down the field outside the numbers. But the running attack is great, though, so we got one part of the offense down pat.
Yeah, the 265 rushing was not good on the Steelers' part. Like, that's something we got to clean up because we got Zeke coming in on Sunday, and we can't let him run crazy because that's their only weapon, basically. I mean, they got Amari, but they don't have a quarterback. So that game taught me a lot about the Steelers, and I just want them to be consistent. But with Lamar, I think he just has to be a better decision maker with the football because he's actually a good. Like, he's a decent thrower of the football. He can throw it, you know. He can put it in tight windows, and that has something to do with play calling because you guys are a heavy running team, so you're running most of the time. So maybe they need to call more passing plays to get him more comfortable because a lot of the time he didn't even look comfortable, you know, in the pocket.
That's very true. That point also ties into, like, maybe they don't call as many passing plays for the simple fact he doesn't have that big threat on the outside of numbers. Like, we have a guy that can take the top off the defense, but he's not going to be open every time because he's not Tyreek Hill, just point blank, period.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not. So, yeah, that was my takeaway from that game. But maybe y'all bounce back against the Colts on Sunday.
Well, we just going to have to wait and see. Now, next biggest question, you know the Jets are 0-8. or 0-7. They haven't won a game. They're the
They
Jets.
haven't. No.
Y'all haven't lost a game. Which one is gonna happen first? Pittsburgh losing or New York winning?
I say Pittsburgh loses just because when I look at the Jets schedule, I legit can't point one game where I'm like, they have a good chance or even a decent chance at winning. Like you could say the Browns, but even the Browns, I think the Browns can beat the Jets. Like
Yeah.
you saw how they whooped on the Cowboys. Like the Browns can beat bad teams this year. It's just the good teams they struggle with. So yeah, I say the Pittsburgh loses first because I don't see the Jets winning at all this year.
I absolutely agree. I have a friend that's a Jets fan. He swears up and down they're going to get at least 2 wins. And I'm looking at their schedule now. They got New England twice, Seattle. This isn't in the schedule order, but they got New England twice, Seattle, the Raiders, the Rams, Browns, Chargers, and Dolphins remaining on their schedule. The only game I even give them a slim chance of winning is the Dolphins.
And even then, like if you look at the Dolphins
Oh,
defense has been playing well. So that would be the highest like rated game. Like maybe they can win that, but they still won't even win that game. I don't think unless Tua doesn't play well.
speaking of Tua, we're going to get into the Miami versus LA game. Yeah, what's your takeaways from that? I thought Tua, that in all honesty, that's not a good measurement game for Tua in my opinion. Just because of how poorly Jared Goff and the Rams played. And he didn't really need to do much on offense due to the fact everybody else around him was scoring and his defense showed up that game.
Yeah, it must be something with that AFC West because if you remember, the Dolphins defense did the same thing when San Francisco came over there. They did the same thing to Jimmy G. He was looking lost out there too. But yeah, I agree on the two apart. I don't think it's the good judge. I'm gonna need to see him this week. I thought he was decent, he didn't do too much, but when they asked him make a throw or two, he made it. He had that one touchdown.
Yeah.
That was a pretty solid throw. So I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. It was like, okay, he's not a bust, but he could possibly be something. Let's see
Yeah,
what else.
we'll just have to take notes and keep watching and see how he holds up.
Right. Now, next question as far as the Rams and the Miami game goes. Do you think the Rams are going to have a repeat performance like this again? And should Sean McVay probably switch up the offense? Because that's what side of the ball was really struggling. So like I said, Miami Dolphins didn't need to do much on offense. So, like, obviously the Rams defense showed up. Their offense is what cost them the game, essentially.
Yeah, I've never been truly sold on Jared Goff. Like, I mean, he's good, but I just don't know if he can get you over the top. I like Sean McVay. I don't think it's Sean McVay. I still don't know why they got rid of Todd Gurley, but that's another story. But it's not like they don't have weapons. I mean, they got Robert Woods. They got the running back Henderson. He hasn't been doing bad, and then they got the tight end. So they have weapons, but yeah, it's up to Goff. Like they paying him all that money. You paying him 100+ M's. Like we need you to get the job done, man. You can't be having performances like this.
Right. If I'm not mistaken, who does the Rams play next week? Give me 1 second. If the Rams are playing who I think they are, they should be able to get a dub this week.
Yeah, the Rams problems, and I think they're still they're still 5-3, so they're not totally out of it, but
that whole AFC West is just ridiculous. Like,
except for the 49ers now.
I think the 49ers would be fine if they get at least a few people back. At least their skill positions outside of Jimmy Garoppolo. Because in my opinion, Jimmy G ain't all that in a bag of chips like people say he is.
Oh no, he's probably average at best he's average. Definitely.
If you watch First Take, Max Kellerman, he's a strong advocate for Jimmy G, and I still fail to see why, because he clearly is just not what San Francisco needs.
His decision making sometimes is really iffy. He's had a couple games so far where you're just like, man, what are you doing? Where are you throwing, man? Like, yeah, it must be a train wreck being a 49ers fan this year compared to last year. You know, they in the Super Bowl and whatnot.
I think it's my personal opinion. San Francisco, outside of the injuries, the players that are still healthy have like a little bit of Super Bowl hangover.
Oh yeah, you can most definitely say that. Like, well, we in a new season. You got to wake up.
Right? Like it's everybody starting from zero now. Like get it together.
Exactly.
One game I want to touch on. Tennessee lost to Cincinnati this past weekend. Now, mind you, they lost despite Derrick Henry running for more than 100 yards and scoring. Like, that's insane. Is that a sign of bad things to come for Tennessee, or is this just a good sign for Cincinnati that they call Tennessee lacking?
Well, there's 2 straight weeks because they lost to us too. So with Tennessee, it's their defense for me. It's not as good as it was last year. You see Cincinnati going there and put 31 points on them. We beat them the week before, and yeah, I just think, I mean, you got Derrick Henry doing so much for that offense, and then now you can be like, okay, our whole game plan is Derrick Henry. We gotta stop Derrick Henry. So teams are loading up the box. Like, he still had a good game, but still, you know, all the tension's on him. So Tannehill has to play better. He has to find Jonnu Smith and AJ Brown in them. And if he can't do that with the defense being suspect, then yeah, I think they can still win the division just because of the division they're in. The only competition is the Colts, but I don't think they'll go this far if this is the path they're trending on.
So you'll think they'll right the ship before it's too late.
Yeah, they still can right the ship. They just got to get Tannehill going a little bit better, and they got to get that defense going better too, because you can't allow 31 points to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
even though Joe Burrow is playing good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in all fairness to Cincinnati, like they've been in most of the games they lost. It's not like every one of the games has been an absolute blowout. So they worked for it. So I'll give credit where credit is due. Joe Burrow showed up.
They got the W, definitely.
But in reference, I agree. Tannehill needs to do better. Corey Davis did have more than 100 yards receiving that game, by the way. So he got it to his receivers a receiver that wasn't his number 1 or 2, for that matter. Another game I want to speak on real quick. Let's see. The Packers fall to the Vikings, lost 22-28. Now, granted, given the time we're recording this episode, ladies and gentlemen, the Packers already beat the brakes off the San Francisco 49ers and showed that they were going to bounce back regardless. Now, after that loss to Minnesota, do you think Minnesota has given the league a blueprint on how to put a stop to Aaron Rodgers in that I wouldn't say high-powered offense, but Aaron Rodgers from doing what he normally does and just winning games?
I don't know if I would go that far, but they did a pretty good job. I just would take it as, you know, it's a division game. All these division games be tough. No matter, sometimes it doesn't matter how good or bad an opponent game. When you get in the division games, you want to win because that's in your division. They're your rivals, and you always want to win. So that's what I take it as. The Vikings are still not a good or great team to me because Kirk Cousins. I was about to say Kirk Cousins. He's so suspect sometimes, and it's not like he don't have receivers. He's got that rookie Justin Jefferson out of LSU who can be a number 1 receiver. I'm saying that right now. He definitely can be. You still got Adam Thielen back there, Kyle Rudolph, Dalvin Cook. Like, man, look at this offense. Some of these quarterbacks in the league would love those players, and you still can't get it done. But they got it done that day because it was a division game. So I don't think it was a sign of a blueprint because Aaron Rodgers is still a bad man. Where's Stephen A? And he's still an MVP candidate. So they just had a bad game. That's what I'll take it as.
One thing I'll take away from this game, the Packers, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up, the Packers are a lost cause because their defense is absolutely atrocious. Dalvin Cook pretty much had his way with them this past Sunday. And if they don't start playing better, the best they're going to see is probably the NFC Championship game. because whoever they meet, whether it be Seattle or Tampa Bay, like they're going to put up points, and eventually Aaron Rodgers, they're going to figure something out, and Aaron Rodgers is going to slow down and not be able to keep up with them, especially Seattle, because Russell Wilson has way more weapons than he does.
Oh yeah, Russ, yeah, he get it going. It's a wrap.
Big wrap. I don't know if you saw the Patriots and Bills game. Last final drive, Cam fumbles the ball. Is it time to move off of Cam for New England?
See, I don't. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, and this is why. Yeah, that was a terrible fumble. Like Cam knows you have it in you're going to your left side. While you got the ball in your right hand, sideline. You should have it in your left hand. But I'm gonna say no because you look at who he had available, and they still came within 3 points of beating the Bills. They could have beat them. Harry, he didn't play. Julian Edelman didn't play. They had, I think, a couple running backs didn't play. Like they already are thin as it is because they don't have no cap space according to Bill Belichick. And then they didn't have people available. So I don't put this on Cam. He didn't have anybody available. Well, I'm sorry. I do put the fumble on Cam, but I'm not putting the Patriots struggles the whole year solely on Cam. I'll clarify that.
My takeaway is I think the Patriots season is just lost at this point. Bills, like you said, division games are tough as it is, and the Bills were going through a little bit of a lull. Josh Allen was in one of his slumps at this point in time. Like Cam should have kept the ball to the sideline, not fumbled, kick the field goal, at least go into overtime. So that's what should have happened, but it didn't. It's in the bag now. I think the Patriots should just throw it in not throw it in, but understand that there's a high chance they aren't going to make the playoffs this year for the first time in 20 years. And they just need it. Patriots fans everywhere, I need to come to accept that. Y'all not going to the playoffs this year.
Man.
So that's a hard pill to swallow because Brady spoiled y'all, but
definitely for 20 years.
It's not happening this year, man. The Colts beat the Lions 41-21. I don't know if you've been watching Indy too much. I've been keeping my eye on Philip Rivers and them. They're a solid team for their division at least. I don't know if they're a team that you should take seriously come playoff time. But Philip Rivers and the Colts definitely look like a serious team. And a team to be reckoned with if Philip Rivers doesn't do his Chargers type shit. Throw picks at the end of games. Well, what's your takeaway from the Colts beating the Lions, and what's your take on the Colts in general, actually?
Well, my takeaway on the Colts beating the Lions is not much because Detroit is poverty. So, that's just a win they should have had, and if they lost, I would have roasted them, but they didn't, so that's good for them. On the Colts in general, though, like you said, it's all on old man Phillips, so he got to get the job done for them. The defense is pretty good, but offensively, it's on him. He can't be making the mistakes that he's made in a couple games that they've lost this year, and that just goes back to his Chargers days. When you saw him in the playoffs the few times that he went with them. So if they're gonna be a playoff team and try to make a push, he has to be a key, and they'll go with him because like almost every team, you go wherever the quarterback takes you. So unless you're the Titans, and then it's Derrick Henry. But yeah, that's my take on that on the Colts.
I agree. I'm not even gonna speak much more on the Colts because I have absolutely no faith in them. Now I wouldn't say absolutely no faith. I'll take that back. But right now, Philip Rivers is sitting at 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for the season. If he doesn't spread that touchdown to interception ratio margin a little bit more, he's going to be, at best, they're one and done.
He has to, yep. Because you think about, like, when you get in these playoff games, right? And really, a lot of the times, it's two good teams. So, like with the Baltimore and Pittsburgh game, like, these are two good teams. And it's going to come down to whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. With Philip Rivers, he's going to have to cut down on them turnovers, man. 6. It's not like a horrible number right now, but he still got to cut down on them, throw some more touchdowns. So that's where they are now.
Well, since we're on this game, I'm gonna ask you something. This is something I just thought about. Do you think it's time for Detroit to move off of Matthew Stafford?
I would say no. I think Matthew Stafford is a really good quarterback. Um, and maybe he's not for them. So I guess, but he's not the problem. I'll just put it like that. He's not the problem. Matthew Stafford is not the problem with the Lions. They have a whole bunch of coaching issues and stuff like that. Defense issues, offense. Matthew Stafford is the least of their problems. I'll put it like that. So yeah, they need a whole lot more other than the quarterback.
I agree. But my personal take on it, I think Matt, if he hasn't been able to stay consistently healthy enough to be at the quarterback position. That's just my take. Like, there's been a lot of games he's missed that even during Calvin Johnson's stint in Detroit, if Matthew Stafford was there for more than what he was, then they probably could have made a lot more noise than what they did. I'm not saying Detroit fans, panties out of what. I'm not saying tank for the season. I'm just saying you need to start considering your options when it comes to quarterback and just start rebuilding. Because y'all have solid pieces on that team. Darius Slay, Kenny Galladay is no joke down the field. He's a legit
he's really good. I like him, yeah.
He's a legit receiver. So I think it's just time to move off of him. This past trade deadline, you could have traded him for a couple of, at least bare minimum, a late first round to early second round pick. Dallas would love to have Matthew Stafford right now.
I don't know if that Dallas would have gave up that pick though. That's the key.
Never know. Detroit didn't put the offer on the table, so you don't know what.
Yeah, that's facts as well. That trade deadline was pretty quiet though.
Not a lot of moves were made, which was pretty shocking. We'll actually get to that in a second here. Last game I want to touch on. Speaking of the Dallas Cowgirls, 23-9 victory for the Eagles over the Cowboys, despite Carson Wentz turning the ball over a total of 4 times, 2 picks, 2 fumbles lost. In this game, like there's plenty of the takeaway. I just want to hear what you took away from this game.
That the NFC East is trash. Like no team deserves to go to the playoffs in that whole division. Honestly, the team that I would most want to see in the playoffs would be the Giants, and I hate saying that, but it would be the Giants because they look the best. Like just watching them on TV, they look the best. And the Cowboys, oh my, they're atrocious. They can't even move they can barely move the ball up and down the field. They have no quarterback. So I know if that get healthy, he's gonna be asked for a lot because the Cowboys, they need that quarterback.
Right. If I'm Dak, I'm telling Jerry Jones just like empty your bank account in the mind.
Oh yeah, just back up the truck into my house. We're gonna go to the bank after that. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm about to clean y'all out because clearly y'all need me.
Definitely 1,000%.
Yeah, this is just I hate the Cowboys, but I wasn't even expecting them to be this bad. Like Ezekiel Elliott hasn't had a 100-yard rushing game yet this season.
He can't do nothing. Nothing.
Their O-line is injured and they're not as good as they once were. Their defense, I don't know what happened with their defense. But
yeah, they're good in places, but yeah, overall.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing on the inside.
It's not looking good for Dallas. It's not.
Not. Now, what does this say about Carson Wentz? Even though he turned the ball over a solid 4 times, all 4 of which were his fault. If I'm not mistaken, at least 3 out of 4 of them were his fault. What does it say about Carson Wentz that he turns the ball over 4 times and still gets the dub? Should Philly keep having faith in him, even though this is the way he's going to get the job done?
Man, I've been seeing a lot of rumblings on social media about turning to Jalen Hurts, the kid out of Alabama, Oklahoma transfer. So I mean, man, that's a tough one because you're in first place in the division, but Carson Wentz is definitely having a turnover problem. But it's looking like Doug Peterson, their coach, is having faith in them because he's not turning his back on them. I don't think I would yet. If you started losing games and you're in the NFC East and he's still turning the ball over, then you have a decision. But since they're still first and they're winning enough games to stay in first right now, I would lean to no. I'm gonna stick with Carson as the starter, but he has to be better though. He knows that he has to be better.
Definitely, MVP caliber player one year. Now, got hurt the next.
Injuries. Tough.
It's funny how the tables flip. It was a consistent problem with him being injured. Now the players around him can't stay healthy.
Yeah, now he got them computer generated receivers, man.
He got the Madden, like he's 10 seasons deep on
exactly.
my career on Madden.
Exactly.
Getting just random people. Speaking of the Giants, I know you mentioned the Giants earlier. Fun fact about them, well, not fun fact. They almost beat the Patriots. Not Patriots. Good grief.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
The Bucks. They almost beat the Bucks. Only lost 23-25. Should the Giants have faith in Daniel Jones? Because I've heard a lot of rumblings and a lot of analysts saying after this season, like they're going to start keeping eyes out for quarterbacks. Like they might be one of the teams going for Trevor Lawrence.
Man, see with the Giants, it's their offensive line. Like they're not good. Like you saw that when Saquon was there. Even his rookie year, he ran he had a great year, but he had no offensive line. And this year, before he got injured, no offensive line. Like Daniel Jones is running for his life. So I don't really think it's all on Daniel Jones. He makes some poor throws sometimes, but I don't see him as a franchise QB right now. But I don't think you necessarily have to get another quarterback right now. They need to focus on upgrading other parts of their team, like the defense, the linebackers, and then your offensive line. That's the two places I would start.
Definitely, but as we know, the Giants front office ain't always been the best when it comes to player management. Clearly, because Odell isn't there anymore. Trade away Odell for a bag of cookies, you're an idiot. Point blank period. Point blank period. Okay. We're gonna have to wrap here soon, so I just want to hear your power rankings, your top 5 teams going into Week 9.
Top 5 teams. I'm gonna have to start at number 5 with the pack with them cheeseheads. Okay. With that bad man Aaron Rodgers, they look good. I mean, obviously it's a bad 49ers team, but he's an MVP candidate, so I definitely have to have him at number 5. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Seattle right now, and Russ is definitely probably leading in the MVP race right now. The defense is still a little suspect. They've been doing pretty well lately, but that's the only thing I would have. Like, can they win? Is their defense good enough to win, basically? Number 3, Tampa Bay. Definitely gotta have Tampa Bay in there. They've been playing good. Their defense is like 3rd in sacks in the whole league, so they've been flying around. And Tom Brady's playing pretty good, and they're getting Antonio Brown. You know, he's gonna be playing on Sunday night. So gotta have them. This is the unbiased part of me. Number 2, I'm actually gonna put the Steelers. We undefeated, but I'm gonna put my Steelers at number 2. We just haven't been consistent enough for me to put them at number 1. Our schedule hasn't been up there in strength. And number 1, I gotta put them Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs. Like, man, Pat Mahomes, they have to beat themselves to lose. Like, when they lost to Oakland, they beat themselves. Exactly. So that's the only way they lose, and that's why they're my number 1 team for Week 9.
Going into Week 9, so you got the Chiefs, the Steelers, Tampa Bay, Seattle, and Green Bay.
Yes, sir.
That's a solid top 5. I have no quarrels with that, except I would probably flip Tampa Bay and Seattle. I would flip Tampa Bay and Seattle.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one right there. I respect it.
I think that's it for this episode, man. I appreciate you pulling up once again.
You already know how we do. Appreciate you, man.
You already know you're welcome anytime. Anytime, brother. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Elite. I've been Mark G, my boy Ty Moore. You know where to follow us at Instagram at The Elite Pod, Facebook at The Elite Sports Podcast. Like, subscribe, share. Give us your opinion. I want to hear your opinion too. Let us know.